The Nikki Glaser Podcast. The Nikki Glaser Podcast.
Here's Nikki.
Hello, here I am. Welcome to the show. It's the Nikki Glaser Podcast. Happy Labor Day weekend. Hope you had a good one. I am joined today by Brian Frangie. Hi, Brian.
Hello, welcome to the show, everybody. That's me welcoming you to the show also.
Yeah, there you go. Noah's also here. Hey, Noah.
Welcome to the show. It's me welcoming everybody.
And then that's the laughter of my birthday boy. My little baby birthday boy.
Okay.
Baby. My boyfriend, my lover, my special guy whose birthday is today. It's Chris Convy, everyone.
Hey, that's
Yay.
me welcoming you to the
Happy
show.
birthday.
That's me.
And Anya's not here today because she's filming a music video
Oh, shit.
in Rhode Island on a boat.
Oh, wow.
So she'll tell us all about that when she gets back.
That's pretty cool.
But we get Chris Convy today. He came to visit me. I'm very excited about it. He came in. What day did you get here? On Sunday?
Sunday.
Yeah, you got here on
Sunday.
And we have a fun week planned. We have an activity for your birthday on Thursday. This sucks when I have like a birthday present that's coming 2 days after his birthday. Because today's his birthday and I literally have nothing for you except
Yeah.
kisses.
No, I think that's fine.
Really?
I think you've got time to give somebody a gift.
Really?
I mean, personally, it doesn't matter to me either way. But I think, yeah, how are you supposed to like line up something perfect on somebody's birthday in this day and age? Am I right, Brian?
Oh, in this day and
there's
age? Is that what you're
Amazon.
talking about? This day?
Yeah, in this day
Oh,
and
yeah.
age.
No, it's hard. But I do know that you don't say happy birthday to Chris Convy. Chris Convy says hello
Says
to
happy-
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you can't call, you can't text. He's got to call you. And if he doesn't call you on his
Let's
birthday.
explain. Let's explain what
Yeah,
you're
go
talking
ahead.
about. Will you explain it?
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, I can explain this. So, but I mean, I think when I was young, this is like 20 years old,
Mhm.
this whole thing, people were obsessed with their birthdays. And then they
Yeah.
were upset, oh, you missed my birthday. And if you
Mhm.
miss somebody's birthday, it's this big ordeal. And somebody's like, oh, I'm sad you. And everybody just loves their birthday so much. So the deal I was making with my friends was, you don't ever have to remember my birthday. I will call you on my birthday. And you go ahead and call me on your birthday. So now on my birthday, I'll call, but basically everybody in my phone that I care about will get some sort of a phone call to be like, hey, you never had to remember this.
Yep.
You shouldn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking that off your plate.
Right. And so it's a funny thing. So Chris would call everyone in his phone book on his birthday. And then if they didn't call him on their birthday, he would have no love lost because that's the rule.
That's the rule. Like, who cares about birthdays?
Well, clearly, I mean, it's
effectively made my birthday like a
Burdensome.
very, very busy day that
Sure.
Nikki used to hate a lot.
I used to loathe it because we would it would be Chris on it's like when Chris was doing a deal on Wall Street in the 90s on his birthday. Like he was on the phone, on the floor, trying to sell and buy all day long. I'm not kidding you, all day long.
All day.
We would go to like dinner for his birthday and he would have to step out and just collect these calls or call people all day because he'd go through imagine going through your whole contact list.
Here's the
and
beauty.
most people don't pick up. Though.
Here's the
So then
beauty.
it's
and
good.
like,
It's good
yeah,
that his birthday celebration is Thursday.
Yeah. Now you
Actually,
can do
it's
all
gonna
this
work
stuff.
out for you,
It
Nikki.
is because I don't have the time. So the beauty of it is I'm pretty bad at keeping up with everybody. I'm pretty bad. I don't love phone calls. I'm not good at responding to texts, but this is one day of the year that I'll just get to say hi to as many people as I can.
Yeah,
and
that's lovely.
we both have laughs about it. Sometimes they won't pick up, and then I just get to leave a message and get to
Yes.
be. But it's
that's sweet.
there is something beautiful about it that has emerged.
So
which
how
is
many
like,
people are you calling, you think?
I don't know. My friendship
Hundreds.
group 7,000.
Wow.
it's a lot.
7,000.
It's all day long.
No, I bet it's in the hundreds.
Yeah, but that's a
somewhere in the
lot of
100.
calls.
Somewhere
You're
in-
like a telemarketer all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah. I should get you a little cubicle, little headset.
Yeah.
I do
Have
the
you ever
same.
been a telemarketer?
I do the same thing on my birthday that Chris does, except I do it the day after, and I call people and go, "Oh, so you didn't remember my birthday, did you?
Oh, look at
Right.
you.
Nothing, not even a little text." That's what I do.
How many calls have you gotten today already? Or how many calls? Wait, you
0 calls today, but I've gotten some texts. But how like aren't there friends that you go over a year of not talking to or not even thinking of that you still love those people?
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
And it's like it's sort of a nice thing to have a yearly check-in to be like, hey, we're still buds.
But some of these people, Chris, you got to they're
These
dying
people?
to talk to you, right?
These
And they're just
people?
people that like there are some people that you call on your birthday, and I know for a fact you're like, I would love this conversation to be 4 minutes long, but it ends up being like 40 minutes.
But this is the game we're playing. Nothing's 40 minutes. Nobody
Really?
nobody
Nobody's
does that
40?
to me.
Okay.
Everybody knows. They go, hey. Some of the guys will pick up and be like, hey, I know you got a bunch of calls. We'll
All
talk
right.
to you later.
Oh, that's
Okay.
cool.
Yeah. It's
Do you ever get any like passive aggressive responses like, "Oh yeah, it's been like a year since I've heard from you."
No. People at this point, if I'm friends with you, they
know the drill.
They sort of they know the drill, and it's funny. They're like they'll pick up and be like, hey man, I haven't heard from you in a while. And I'm like, hey, you know what day it is? And they go, I forget every year. Like they even forget when they're getting the phone call. Or some people will pick up and be like, I know what this is all about.
Yeah.
Because I don't call anybody. I call nobody ever.
But for someone who says they don't like birthdays, you always celebrate mine in such a genuine way. Are you just doing that because you think it matters to me, or like do you? I think
Well,
you
it's not
do.
that I
like,
don't. It's not that I don't like birthdays. It's that there was an era. Like you remember when you were in your like 20s and everybody was so stoked on their birthday.
Yeah, it was like
that was
peak
the invention of the
Facebook.
birthday month when girls would say it's my birthday month.
that still happens.
Thankfully, that ship has sailed.
And so that was me taking the power back.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. That was annoying. I don't like when people tell you, "Oh, my birthday's this." They're
Oh, yeah.
like people in their 30s or 40s telling you their birthday is this week. Like you're an adult. Like
Who cares about your
this
birthday?
is insane.
Nobody cares.
it's really weird. It's really weird.
Yeah.
I think it is nice. You know what I like about a calendar year? It is exactly long enough where you go, okay, it's time to celebrate again. Like it is a perfect, if it was 2 days, if it was 363 days, you go, didn't we just do this?
Uh-huh.
Forever. It's a perfect amount of time where when it rolls around again, you go, this is just enough time that it's time for this again. I'm talking Valentine's Day. I'm taking birthdays. I'm talking Halloween's. Like,
What about
if it were a
Christmas?
month shorter, like let's say like a
doesn't
couple
celebrate
weeks
Christmas.
shorter. Christmas. Yeah, I don't acknowledge. Well, Christmas. Yeah, Christmas is. I like Christmas being celebrated a whole month. I like getting into that spirit.
Yeah.
I'm not someone who's like, when there's already Christmas music playing. I'm like,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
it's playing.
People love
Let's get in
that.
the spirit. And I know that some people in this podcast are Jewish and are probably like,
I love Christmas time.
you do?
I think Christmas time is like a Jewish person's favorite time in America, at least.
It's so
Everything
that's
is
so
so
nice to hear.
jolly, and like all of our holidays are like based off of like sad events or like Jews overcoming something. But I don't know, just Christmas. I guess I don't really know the full story behind it, but it just seems like very jolly.
You don't know the full story behind Christmas?
Bethlehem. Oh, Jesus.
All
I don't
right.
know
Well, I
if
think
Santa
I think this podcast just became the story of Jesus' birth.
Noah, what
I
do you
always
think?
forget if he rose or died or fucking
Noah, what do you
was
think
born
Christmas
or-
is about?
No
Well,
one knows.
What do you
yeah,
mean?
it's the birth of Jesus, but like the whole thing with Santa Claus, I don't know how he comes into the picture.
Oh, well, that's just a pagan thing, I think.
Yeah, I don't know about Santa either.
Every time there's a thing like that is because of the pagans. Anything that's fun, the pagans added it at some point.
Yeah.
And we just took it.
I want to
'cause it
do
was
a little
fun.
bit of a if you're listening around children to like turn this
Oh
off.
yeah.
Because
Oh man.
I will just say that
One of my favorite things
Oh,
that's ever
yeah.
happened.
well, Chris can tell this story, but first I just want to say I didn't find out about that thing not being what it was, that man being not that man, and maybe two people in cahoots until I was in 5th grade.
That something isn't real.
Yes. But I knew, let me just say I knew it wasn't. Probably around 4th grade, it was confirmed. And ever for me.
Hold on, real quick. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Who is listening to this podcast around kids?
I don't know. Like people have things on.
There are people that are listening to this around kids?
Their kids to school and they have it on like the morning radio.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not like talking about D's and B's and BJ's and
We did talk about V's and P's and a couple other letters that certainly a kid I wouldn't want my kid hearing if I had a kid.
I'm sorry, kids should be able to know about P's and V's. We just should know about them going into
Well,
each
then they
other.
should
What
also
is
be able to
happening?
know about SCs as well. Then, if they're going to be
What
known
are
about
SCs?
what you're talking about.
Oh, SCs. Oh, yeah. Well, I think that you should tell your kids about SC like almost immediately and say there's this thing that a lot of I just think it's the biggest.
Yeah, but then they go to
It
school
creates such.
and they
I know,
ruin
and
it
then
for
they
other
ruin it
kids.
for everyone.
Yeah.
You know what? Everyone needs to ruin it for everyone because it is an amazing thing to to believe, and it's fun. But it's the same as kids. Do kids believe cartoons are a real world? And is there a moment where they go, oh, "No, it's not real"? I think in the beginning they kind of assume that this is a place that exists. And then there's not a moment where we go, we have to sit down and tell you that Barney's not real or Bluey isn't real. So why can't we do that with this where it's just a thing that we talk about, but we don't sell it so goddamn hard. And we keep it and then there's this moment where we're we have to tell you Santa's gay. We have to sit you down and be we have to, you know what I mean? We have to tell you it's a coming out, it's a serious conversation where your parents are you're becoming an adult now and we're ruining
that part's
life
weird
for you.
I wonder at what age is a good age, because if you do it young enough, then because you have to take into account you don't want your kid to go to school and be like, guess what? Santa isn't real. And then all the other kids cry. And it's just, you don't want your kid to be that kid. And when you're that young, you can't help it. If you have a secret that juicy, come on. So you gotta.
Parents are beating their children while also being and Santa's real. They're fighting with their husband and throwing glasses at him and saying, you motherfucker, you don't do anything for this family, and screaming. And then they're also but Santa comes down the chimney. And so kids have to live in this really real world where their parents are just guttural alcoholics. And I stole that word from Rachel Feinstein. It's not a real world, but it goes perfect with alcoholic. And where they're being screamed at every day and beaten and abused. Kids live in this. Some kids are have to witness horrible things, horrible adult things before they're ready. But then Santa's real, and you go to school and you make little stockings and you draw a turkey in your hand, and it's why do we keep this up?
Are your parents are you guys getting divorced? Yeah, we're getting divorced, but the tooth fairy is still going to go to both houses.
Yes. So anyway, my sister found out about the big hoax in 3rd grade, and she came home. And my parents kept lying to me. I would confront my parents and say, I know it's not real. Dad, it's not. And I would see his foot shake rapidly. He crossed his leg and his foot would shake. And he'd go, Santa, what do you think it is? That's what he asked. What do you think? And I go, well, I think he's not. And he'd go, well, he is. And I knew he was lying. And I was just this guy's I'm full of shit. I can't trust this man for anything. I can't believe I ever let him take me in a kayak in a river. This guy is not trustworthy. And then I knew he was lying, but I kept it up for my sister. So then I was vigilant about not letting my sister watch any adult TV because I thought adults were going to give it away all the time. So I kept up the ruse and let my parents believe I believed. And then also, so my sister would still believe because she was younger. And so I remember them all being let's watch SNL. I was in 5th grade, my sister's in 3rd, and they're we're going to watch SNL. And I was we can't watch it. Because I knew SNL was adult and comedy. And I was we can't. And I couldn't say why, though, to anyone because I couldn't tell my parents. I
You
know.
have so much trauma from Santa Claus.
So
is
much.
why.
And then one day, my sister came home from 3rd grade because her teacher, Mrs. Wright, who was a black woman, because in the black community, they do not lie to their kids that late, at least in the St. Louis black community in the 90s. They are not or whenever this woman grew up in the St. Louis in the 90s, they were not telling their kids into 3rd grade that Santa was real. So this black woman working in a little white school, elementary school, the kids were Santa's coming. And she goes, oh, sorry to burst your bubble, kids. She said, burst your bubble. I'll never forget it. And the parents went, she goes, but Santa's not real. The parents went wild. She was nearly fired. My sister
my
comes
God.
home from school, Mrs. Wright's class in 3rd grade. My mom's at the sewing machine. I'm sitting there watching Saved by the Bell or some shit. My sister walks in from the bus and she puts down her backpack and she goes, I know Santa isn't real. And my mom goes, well, now you know. And I go, that was it? That's it? That's all you had to say? And I'm kind of heartbroken because now it's kind of very much confirmed. And I was in 5th grade and I had fought for Santa and was embarrassed in front of all my classmates for 2 years at that point.
Great.
Fifth grade, where
Oh my
Tyler
God.
Schoonover was like, Santa's not real. And I was just like, yeah, I know. But deep in my heart, I like knew that he was like, it was just this, it was exhausting, let alone keeping my sister from being kidnapped which my parents also didn't seem to care about. I was the only one who seemed to care about that, keeping her safe from pedophiles. I was obsessed with it and like wouldn't let her roam around the neighborhood. My parents were like, let her go. And I'm like, she's going to get kidnapped. I'm smart enough not to get kidnapped, but this little girl, she's too trusting. So I was obsessed with that. And then it all culminates to me at my sister's wedding.
Uh-oh.
Well, I'm a little confused now because I thought your sister knew Santa wasn't
She was the
real.
one that told me and confirmed it though.
Oh,
I
okay.
never had real confirmation, but I kind of knew. You know what I mean? Like I knew, but I was gaslighting myself into believing still.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha.
Because no one ever really told me, but I was like 90% sure. And then my sister was the one that was like 100% backpack on the floor. Santa's not real. Done deal.
You know what would
I'm
be
watching
worse?
Zach Morris.
If you're,
I'm
the reverse would be worse. If a parent tells the kid that Santa Claus is not real and then does all of these things to try to make it seem like it's real. Like dresses up like
track boots through the house and leave
Yeah.
ashes and eat half
then
of
the
a
kid's
cookie
like,
and leave
"But
a
I see
note
the
and all
boots."
this weird serial killer shit.
Yeah, but imagine if you see the boots and you're 4 years old, you see the boots, you see someone came in and ate a piece of cookie, and you're like, Santa is real, and your parents like, no, he's not. I don't know what you're talking about. Wouldn't that be worse?
No, it is worse because then you put all you usual suspects it and you realize your parents have been doing a lie the entire time.
But when
and
you're
that
4,
they went to this and that they kind of feel bad because you were like, you realize all the times that you never gave parents your credit for the gifts they got you. And you were like, Santa killed it this year. Mom, you blew it. Like this doll you gave me sucks, but this pizza thrower from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles rules. Santa nailed it. You blew it, Mom. You know? Okay, so when we come back, we'll tell you the story that Chris has about me and Santa. And I'm sure we've told it on the pod before, but we need to tell it again because
Not with Chris.
Oh, okay, good. All right, we'll be back after this. All right, we're back. Chris,
So
what happened?
so at Nikki's sister's wedding, Nikki gave whatever. What's the speech there? I mean, the maid of honor speech.
Like it was like a reception for a wedding she had 2 years prior. That was like she did
Really?
like a
That's what
shotgun
that was?
wedding. Yeah, it was just a reception. There was no ceremony.
Oh God, I didn't remember it like that.
Yeah.
Well, Nikki gave a speech at the wedding, and during the wedding, she said all these wonderful things about Lauren, but about how she was, more advanced in some ways or mature or whatever it was. And one of the things she said at this reception, where there were aunts and aunts' children and uncles' children, like there was kids at the wedding.
Yeah.
Nikki goes, Lauren found out Santa Claus wasn't real before me, and like. Moms were like putting their hands on kids' ears.
I burst some bubbles that day.
Many bubbles that day.
Kids were crying in the bathroom.
And it was controversial. Kids were crying in the bathroom.
Yep.
Aunts were mad at Nikki.
Yep.
It turned out to be like kind of the talk of the wedding.
They had to learn
besides
somehow.
the cold coffee.
Okay. They had to learn somehow. I mean, I was making this point about my sister being just like always feeling like an older sister to me. She kissed a boy before me. She got a boyfriend before me. She lost her I didn't say the virginity part, but that's true too. She was plucking her eyebrows before me and had to be like, hey, big sis, get over. Your eyebrows are problematic. Let's like fix them. She was always like more advanced and wore makeup before me, just knew what to do before me. And then also the Santa Claus thing I just threw in, not thinking, but you know what? They got to learn somehow. And this is like, I'll bring it back to something else. People go like, no spoiler alert. Isn't the shock of, and I know everyone's going to say, no, it's not. We want to learn spoilers like in the movie itself, the way the director wanted us to learn the spoiler. But let's say someone tells me like, oh, the end of The Sixth Sense or whatever is this thing. Isn't the shock of me finding that out then also the same surprise if I would in the movie?
Not at all, because if you don't know what's happening leading up to The Sixth Sense, like The Sixth Sense is like the perfect example to not use.
That's a good point.
Because the whole movie is completely ruined if you know.
But I'm like, isn't this a good surprise too of you finding out just from overhearing this conversation? Isn't that like also pretty good of like, whoa, damn, like did you have to find out the way everyone else did? Now you could have a different experience by watching the whole movie and
you
knowing.
gave them a gift. Is what you're saying. Those kids
Keep
got a
trying
gift.
to pull this.
Santa Claus.
Christmas came early for those kids.
You keep trying to tell me this all the time the last few weeks, and I'm not buying
Yes.
it. I'm not buying it every
know.
time. I'm like,
What,
no, I
the
need
spoiler thing.
I need, the
Yes.
spoiler thing, because Nikki's got
Yeah.
a lot of spoilers that she's holding over my head,
Roil
and
it
she's
around in my
thankfully
head.
not giving them up yet. Because every time she goes, "Can I just
No, I
tell
don't
you?"
like spoiling things for people. I really don't. But I do argue that when they come out, I go, aren't you surprised now? Just in the same way you would be then? Like,
Yeah,
just enjoy
okay.
this moment instead of being mad at me.
I want
didn't
to
mean
defend
to.
Nikki on this because we do drop a lot of spoilers on this podcast, and some people take the spoiler alert. Some people are like, "Oh, they give away too much of plots." If a TV show or a movie is good, then the spoilers won't matter. You would still enjoy it. Like
I
Yeah,
think
but
you need a
there's something
twist,
there's something unforgettable about that moment in Sixth Sense, or there's a moment in The Departed. There's something that the director intended, like Brian said, that we were led into on purpose to elicit a certain reaction. And
I
that
agree.
that is something that is stolen no matter what, if there is a spoiler on a show. Now, some spoilers aren't that big of a deal and don't ruin anything.
Right.
But if you're like, oh, this character dies, and you're like, hey, you'll get that feeling early on the movie
Yeah.
anyway, well then fine.
yeah.
But
Like,
Yeah, if
spoiler
something
alert,
happens
did you guys
early-
know that in Dude, Where's My Car, they don't find the car?
Wait, I kind of did forget that. But if something happens within the first half hour of the movie, it's not a spoiler. Shut up. Like, this is not, that's
True.
not,
That's the midpoint.
I don't think that that's something that
Agreed.
people should be able to get mad about.
spoiler alert, Dude, Where's My Car? Only movie I've ever walked out on.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I
Whoa.
thought it was pretty funny. Were you just like,
When I was with a bunch of friends and they were like, this is terrible, we're out of here. And I was just like, okay, I guess we're leaving. And they got up to leave and I
and
left
they were like,
with
and
them.
Santa isn't real. And they screamed it at the screen.
And then I've never walked out of a movie since then. Because I was like, this feels wrong.
I have trivia for Noah. Noah, what's the last movie I walked out of? I've probably said it so many times that I would think you know. And if you don't know, then I'll say it again because this is the test of if something's been said too many times on the podcast.
You know what? I feel like I know so much about you, but I don't remember this fact.
Horrible Bosses was the last time I walked out of a movie.
No way.
I was so mad about it because I'm like, just quit. Your boss sucks. This is like the thing of like, just call him, like when people are in movies where you go, you don't have to just go, take a train in the middle of the night to tell him you love him, just like call him and then the movie would be over with these easy fixes. But that movie, I was like, stop killing your boss, just quit. And I didn't like Jennifer Aniston being so sexual. I like it was me being like puritanical about her of like, I don't like her being such an evil sex pot.
Oh, right.
I just need her the way that I want her. And for whatever reason, it bugged me. And also Dinner for Schmucks, I almost didn't make it through, but I did stay. But I will walk out of a movie without any problem.
No way.
I
Brian, you walking out of it?
rarely ever walk out of a movie. In fact, I can only remember walking out of one movie ever. And this is how long ago it was. It came out in 2004. So I was like a
Can
teenager.
we try to guess what it is?
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
2004.
Okay. Is it a comedy?
Yes.
Is it starring does it pass the Bechdel test?
No way. A 2004 movie? Not a chance.
Probably not. I kind of remember I was with my high school friends, and I remember we all decided we're gonna walk out.
Old school?
No.
Does it star someone that is in old school?
Is it embarrassing now is it like a classic now?
No,
You're being-
I actually, you probably should stop guessing because I doubt
let's
you
just
even
tell us.
remember this movie. It is called Welcome to Mooseport.
No.
Is that Ray Romano?
It was Ray Romano's attempt at making a full feature-length film. Ray Romano and
Wow.
Gene Hackman. And man, I was like, I can't even believe this is on a screen. Like, how did this make it to the screen?
Of course,
that was peak Romano though, right?
Yeah, that was like
Yeah,
Everybody Loves
2004
Raymond.
was-
Yeah.
yeah, everyone loved him. But
Except for Brian.
I just like, of course, Chris, I don't think you walk out of things. You're a completionist. You like will finish something because Suits.
Have you guys talked about Suits on this podcast?
I think a
We
little
have.
bit.
Well,
Oh,
Suits
man.
has
Talk about
become.
you watching Suits.
We know you watched 4 days of television.
Chris is not
I
alone.
completed
I
Suits.
added up Suits. Amount of days. Chris is not alone.
Chris
I'm
is
not.
amongst millions.
No, he's
it
not
is.
alone.
It is one of the most watched shows on Netflix right now. It's
Yeah.
crazy, and I don't even want to talk about it because I don't want to continue promoting this show. I mean, it just feels like insane.
The one thing I'll say that I love whenever Suits comes up on Chris's show, The Courtney Show, which is a podcast I listen to every freaking day, and I love it so much. But when Suits comes up on there, there's someone that like newly is watching it or something because Chris gets people into Suits because it's. Did you say it's the center of television? Kind of like Matchbox 20 is the center of
I would
music.
say so. Yes, there is like, okay, when you think about Suits, you think, is this is like one of those USA shows,
Yeah.
characters welcome. You look at it and you're like, is this Franklin and Bash or
Yeah.
or like the doctor on like that moved to the Hamptons, but he got like disbarred, but he like helps rich people like be okay. Psych. Yeah.
Burn
you just-
Love that
Notice.
show too.
Burn Notice.
Burn
you
Notice,
think
yeah.
like, okay, you look at Suits and you say, this is just another one of those terrible shows that of course I would never like. But if you guys have time for just a mini story,
Yeah.
the way I got into it, because I looked at it the same way. I was like, this is going to be terrible. And I just wrote it off as like just a cheesy show. So I was, in 2017 or something, Nikki and I had broken up at that point, and I was in Dubai working for a little while.
Oh, were you not in Abu Dhabi for an Abu Dhabi?
I was in Abu Dhabi, actually. So I was in Abu Dhabi.
for what?
I'm on Bumble for Abu Dhabi.
Okay. Complete the sentence.
I'm on Bumble. I meet this girl. We hit it off a little bit over text.
did you?
Yeah.
What made you swipe right on her? Was it just her smile?
Yeah, she seemed like she had a good personality.
Funny?
I'm a personality guy, as you guys can tell. Everybody knows I'm a personality guy. So we start talking, and I don't know. We get to something where I was like, I was like really into Game of Thrones at the time. Brian and I used to have Game of Thrones watch parties. Nikki was there and would like tolerate it and be
Respect
pretty
it.
Respect. You did respect it, which
Very
was really
respectful.
nice. So I was just so into Game of Thrones. It was before Game of Thrones stunk, and she's mentioned something about Suits because I guess we talked about what TV shows.
Oh,
we
they were
like.
flirting.
If I'm matching with you on Bumble, I'm getting to TV shows at like the fourth text probably.
Yeah.
Just because I've got nothing else. It's all I do.
Mhm.
Anyway, I say there's some sort of bet where she says I will like Suits more than she would like whatever show I come up with. So I was like, you will like Game of Thrones more than I will like Suits. And I was like, okay, bet's on. And I take bets pretty seriously.
Yes, he does.
I get into it. And so I started watching Suits immediately.
Mhm.
And like a week later, I finished the first season of Suits. And
You followed up with her?
I followed up with her. She never even watched one single episode of Game of Thrones. And so but by the end of the season, I was like, you win already. You will not like Game of Thrones as much as I like.
Because
Suits.
you liked it.
I definitely was like, I can watch this entire thing.
Are you
So I watched
sitting
the whole
there,
thing.
you like focusing on the episodes? Because isn't it
No,
like a
he doesn't do
procedural
that.
in the background type show? I mean, they're like an hour episode, right?
Yeah. I would say that, I was in Abu Dhabi for an Abu Dhabi.
Thank you.
And, like you had a lot of time on your hands to watch
Would you say it was
television.
your Abu Dhabi
It was not an Abu Dhabi.
to watch Suits? You didn't
Oh,
have much
oh,
else
yeah.
to watch. Yeah. Noah liked it.
No, I was
Yes,
into
you
it.
did.
So anyway, my point is,
lot.
don't overlook Suits just because you're like too cool. Like
No, I want to start it too. Don't overlook Suits. Hey, what about this? Because you don't like Meghan Markle. And you know what? Maybe you don't like Meghan Markle. Because why, Chris?
there's a smear campaign.
By?
The deep state.
The British royal family.
Yes. If you investigate why you don't like Meghan Markle, you come up dry, bitches. You come up dry because you don't really know. It just seeped into your pores
seeped
over
into
the
your
years.
pores.
You don't even know why. Because she's stuck up. Why do you think that? Where
You
did
sound
you
like
get
Rick
that
from
idea?
Rick and Morty.
I'm pissed about it. I don't like it. I'm so tired of people. I was listening to your podcast the other day, and there was a guy on who should not have any opinion about the royal family. He's an older man that was in radio back with Courtney.
Yep.
His name's Guy Phillips. He's a great radio guy. But he even said, I'm watching Suits and I love it, even though I don't care for Meghan Markle very much. And I'm like, why does this 60-something-year-old man have an opinion, a negative opinion about Meghan Markle? It's because the royal
Smear
family
campaign.
won. They've seeped in. She is a nice girl. She just fell in love with this guy. She didn't try to root. And why does any American give a fuck about the royal
Who cares?
goddamn family?
Yeah.
These guys
Shut
outta here.
up about it. Why do you care? So I understand Brits like having this weird tie.
Canadians.
I don't understand it.
Because it's almost like growing up in a church, like of Scientology. Like it's just they're brainwashed into caring.
It is weird.
They can't help it.
The idea that there is like a queen of another country on your money, like for Canadians and Australians are like, you know, they're very laid back people and they're not worried about it. But from our perspective, to be like, you've got the Queen of England on your money.
Yes.
This is bizarre.
And then I love Doug Stanhope's point about like, well, the British people always say, yeah, it's the royal family, but they don't really have a say in politics or anything. And it's like, well, then why do you fucking care about them? Their defense is always like, but they don't really do anything. It's like, well, then what is going on here?
People should Google Doug Stanhope's stance on the
I
British
played
royal
it on the
families.
podcast before ages ago, and we have a lot of new fans since then. So if you haven't heard it, go listen to Doug Stanhope's rant against the royal family. It really like solidifies how I feel.
But to close the loop on Suits,
Close it.
Listen, I'm not saying everybody's going to love it. I'm saying give it a shot because you might casually like it and be surprised by it. There's good, like, there's like if you like watching shows where there's like good looking people that you can like kind of have a crush on, there's somebody for everybody.
Oh, that's cute. I like that.
Yeah.
Who are you crushing on?
She's-
Markle. You were a Markle fan.
I was a Markle
when
man.
The royal family got me. I used to be a Markle like skeptic.
Markle's charming on the show.
And I used to be like, oh, do you like Meghan? Because he liked Suits before anyone else. And I'd go, oh, is she like so hot? Like, you're probably so into her. I was like kind of jealous. And now I'm obsessed with her. And I think she's the coolest and the smartest. And I really am just such a advocate of spreading the word about how great she is. She was recently seen at the Beyonce concert. And people were just like, oh, are you at Beyonce? It's like, she can't do anything.
Can't do anything right.
And people are going to be
Smear
mad at
campaign.
her. Although I will say I saw a clip of Timothy Chalamet.
Oh shit!
Spoiler alert. With Kylie Jenner, they made their first public appearance together at the Beyonce concert, either yesterday or the day before. And he was smoking a cigarette in the SoFi Center and ashing over the ledge, which I found to be insane. But they're out and they're together, and that's weird.
It seems so bizarre.
Yeah.
It makes like I remember when
Kylie Jenner is part of the other royal family
yeah.
that people care
Yeah.
about.
But people, that's the weirdest one too, because people seem to like always hate the Kardashians, but then why are they so popular? You know, like everyone seems to just not like them, but we can't stop consuming them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's like Brian said. They're like an American royal family.
Yeah, that's true. But
But
they don't
I
do
like
anything.
Chalamet. I'm a Chalamet man.
That Willy
Chalamet.
Wonka
How
do you think they got
trailer,
together?
I was enchanted by.
Like, how did people like
DMs.
so famous?
Yeah.
DMs.
Oh, you think it was Instagram?
Yep. I think it's always DMs for celebs, or it's like, you know, or their friend of a friend gives a text or something, or
Or they're like backstage at Fashion Week.
that's it. That's 100% it. Backstage at Fashion Week.
Backstage.
You're
It's
so
always
right.
backstage at Fashion Week.
Oh my God, that's so true. It's so cute to me to picture Chris on the apps. Do you ever think about your boyfriend like being out there like trying to meet people, like just like being like, I think it's adorable. Just you were like swiping and like had to make first moves, like, and like just do cute things and like have a one-liner like to get in, and then you were talking about Suits and making bets. I think it's so adorable. Where's that spark? Where'd it go?
Yeah. It's gone. I think it's when you call me adorable and cute.
It's so cute. Oh, you don't like being called cute?
I didn't think it's
Patronizing?
yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I don't mean it that way. I like it's endearing to me. Like how
Right.
when you were just a single guy, I like that guy.
I
Yeah, you do?
understand
Yeah,
it
he's
because
cute.
you're like rooting for the person and they're like in a vulnerable position trying to find someone and you really want them to succeed and you're like, I can help you, but I'm not there to help you.
You guys, I think, are looking at it from a different perspective.
No,
than
he's
I
just a
am.
horny guy in Abu Dhabi.
He's not like,
He's not a
It's
lonely
somewhere
guy
in
looking for a
between.
girlfriend. He
It's-
was not like Brian.
it's somewhere in between what you guys are saying. Like, it's more just like, oh, I'm bored and don't know anybody in Abu Dhabi. Like, let's see what's going on.
You know why I like it, Chris? It's because for me, when I first met you, I would have never thought when we broke up the
Yes,
first time, I would have never thought you would get on the apps
Yeah, either did
because
I.
you're a guy who like doesn't do what everyone seems to do. And so when I found out you were on the apps, I was just like, wait, you made a profile and had to like scroll to find
Yes.
your age.
Yeah, I know, it
and
all
you had to
feels-
like answer these like hinge questions
so
or whatever.
humiliating.
It's like so not you.
Oh yeah. My profile was blank forever. I think my profile just said like, just like one thing that I liked.
Like pizza.
Oh, I think it said soft rock. I just had no profile, anything.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, this
Because
is
you got a face that can carry it.
everything that is about this is humiliating.
It really is.
And I think I wrote maybe for a while something like not as tall as I look.
right.
Just
okay, so you're
something
being
to
out
like
there.
take it down a notch.
Yeah,
Like,
literally.
yeah.
Take it down a few notches. So Chris is visiting, and today's his birthday. We have a special thing planned on Thursday.
I like how you say we. Like it's,
Like we're both doing it. We're
Oh,
both
okay.
going. to
Does
this
Chris
thing.
know what it is?
No. No.
Oh,
It's going to be a surprise.
okay.
But before that, we're going to look at dogs.
That's your birthday present.
I know. I was like, for your birthday, we're going to go do something. We're going to go look at dogs at shelter. She just texted me about it, actually, the girl that's helping us look for dogs. Because last
Natalie
week,
from Mayday Rescue.
Natalie from, oh yeah, she's been on the podcast before. Natalie from Mayday Rescue is going to go meet us, and we're going to maybe make a video at the shelter with some dogs and give them, they'll be like, oh, I'm going home. And we're like, no, we're making a video with you, bitch. Get
Yeah.
over here and then go back in your cage. Just using you for content.
If
Just
people
kidding.
that's like half the reason I got on social media was to like look at the dodo and things like
Oh,
that.
so
people
good.
like, dog rescue. People should follow Mayday Rescue.
Yeah, she does a really good job of placing animals, and it's just so nice when you see a little scruffy dog that is covered in like a bath mat of fur, and then they look like a different dog once they get a makeover, and then they end up happy on a couch licking someone's
Yes,
face. and
you
it
get
says
success
adopted.
stories, yeah.
Yes. So the other day, though, I got really close on a dog. I didn't even tell the girls chat because I'm tired of like. The last time I got close on a dog, I like announced it on the girls chat, and then I had to like tell everyone that I didn't get it, and it was just so sad. It's I don't mean to relate it to people telling people they're pregnant and then losing a pregnancy, but it felt
exactly
the
what I just
closest
thought of.
I've ever gotten to that. What was that?
That's exactly what I thought of. I was like, oh, it's like having a miscarriage.
It felt like that's the closest
It's Nikki's version of
Yeah,
that.
Taylor's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Nikki's version.
That's so funny. So I don't mean. Please know that I don't think it's the same at all. But it's like the closest I have been able to feel to that, where I like start like looking at dog toys and stuff, and like imagining the future of my life with this animal by my side. And I'll say that like I can see the animal. It's not like I like. It's there. I met it. I hugged it. I carried it. It licked my face. I thought I had it. So last week on Tuesday, a woman died. And the next day, that night, her friend posted on Instagram, I need to find a place for my best friend died last night. It's so tragic. Like she had a heart condition and she went in to go have a thing put in and it didn't work out. And she died tragically, and she had a 5-year-old
What?
dog. I know, it's so sad, but the doc, I will say that she went into the thing knowing, like, I think it was like a 25% chance that it was maybe going to end this way. So
really?
it wasn't completely like, which is still tragic. I mean, you would think you have a 75% chance of it was awful. It's awful. But people die. It's part of the story. I'm not trying to make it
reality.
about that, or I'm not also trying to not make it about that because someone died in this story. But her dog was then didn't have an owner. So her best friend put this picture of this dog online, and then it got posted by someone else, and then Anya saw it and she sent it to me, and she was like, this dog seems to like meet all of your needs. It's this many pounds. It's 5 years old. It's cute, and it seems to not have a barking problem. It's like some perfect dog. So I went and I messaged the woman immediately. I asked Chris first, and I was like, this dog seems kind of perfect. Do you think we could maybe do this? And then you said, go for it. And I was like, thanks. And then I wrote to the woman and I said, listen, I travel a lot. I want a dog that I can travel with. So I just wanted to be upfront, like this dog is going to travel, because some people might not want that for their dog. But let me just say that if you don't want your dog to travel, this is because then she wrote back and said, we don't want this dog to travel. And sorry, we're going to meet other people, but thank you so much for your interest. Very polite about it. And I was really like, sad about it. And then I was like, wait, I feel like I can convince this woman because I'm not going to do something to a dog that's going to make this dog's life worse than someone else. I would give the dog the best life possible because just because it travels with me, I do
She thinks you're putting the dog under the plane.
Yes.
I think sometimes
that
people
also.
think that's,
You're so right. So I made that I said, I'm just going to shoot my shot one more time. I'm sorry to bother you. I know you're grieving and like, I don't want you to have to read a bunch of texts, but I'm just saying the fact that it would travel with me means it would travel under the seat in a carrier. I would be checking on it constantly. It would be safe. I've traveled with dogs before. I would never do anything to an animal that would cause it anxiety. If it would have anxiety and wasn't good at traveling, it would stay with my boyfriend or it'd stay with my family who has dogs. It would always have people to take care of it. And I said, here's the other thing. It sounds like it's a bad deal with this dog traveling all the time, but what that means is I don't have an office job. I'm not leaving my dog alone in a cage 7 hours a day, which I guarantee you, whoever this dog ends up with, it's going to spend a lot more time alone than it would if it was with me. And maybe that's what they want for the dog is like, it's okay being alone because it turns out this dog, I guess, is okay being alone. But I was like, this dog will never be alone. I'll always be with it. It's tiny. It will always be with me. And if it's not alone, I don't allow my dogs to be alone for more than 3 hours. That's like the most before I had someone come and walk them or something. And if you leave your dog alone for more than that time, I don't think you're a bad person. You do what you can, but I don't believe dogs should be left in cages at home alone for more than like, I think I would say PETA says like more than 5 minutes, but some
people leave it at home, not in a cage for long periods of time.
Yes, but sometimes they like the cage, like, and they need the cage.
It
like the
makes them
dog
feel
likes
safe.
the cage. Yeah. So I don't mean to say I'm adding cage to sound worse, but sometimes I mean that's like a better scenario
Right.
than just like on your couch. But I've heard of people leaving 7 or 8 hours, and the dog just has to like hold it. And I think it gets worse than that when people just are a little bit more negligent. I think it can be worse. So I was just saying like, this dog will always be with someone. So she then reconsidered and said, yeah, come meet it. Actually, this is, I pled my case and I said, I'm a vegan because of animal rights. Like I'm not going to ever make this dog feel unsafe or have anxiety. Like I will do everything to make it comfortable 100% of the time. And she bought it, man. She bought it. No. So she let me go meet it and I held it and it was so cute and so nice. And I loved it so much. And it was so calm and sweet. And I, I loved it immediately. And I was like, this dog is mine. Like this is happening. Cause the woman was really cool. And she's a writer. We connected and I just felt like we had a good talk. She also, we were talking about having kids and how I'm like, I don't plan on having kids. And she was like, she gave me some advice on that, which was really awesome, but I don't want to say what it was in case she hears this. And she's like, you betrayed my trust, but I'm not revealing who this woman is, but she was awesome. And we connected, we walked the dog and I felt like, oh, this is going to happen. And then I was on the treadmill like an hour later and like in the middle of a workout, I just get a call and I'm like, ugh. And then I let it go because I was like panting at the time like a dog. And then she was like, I'm nearly crying because I have to tell you, we want the dog to be local. Because I guess the woman's family wants to maybe like see the dog and they don't want it to be all the way in St. Louis. So I didn't get the dog. And I was so sad for like a day. Because it was only like a day that I thought, it was less than a day that I thought I was going to get it. So it wasn't like super seeped into my consciousness, but I was like.
But I had like the fact that you were going to see it, like I had already started like being like, okay, our life with Hobbs.
Yes.
And I was excited about it.
I know. And we had to talk about,
I almost messaged that lady to be like, hey, you're doing the right thing by seeing Nikki. Like, because, Luigi, the first day that Nikki had Luigi, everybody said it was a mistake. Luigi was like scared and barking and then bit Nikki and like we were like, what is going on? And she
was like, you would have been like, this dog, there's nothing.
It's going to be troubled the whole time.
It's just in a corner shivering all day long.
And you're like, this is a disaster. And Nikki loved it into being
submission.
Luigi's like it's just the greatest dog. And then Nikki did it again with Marion. So I wanted to tell this lady like, hey, Nikki's going to love this thing like in a way that's extraordinary and it's going to have an amazing life. But I also understand like, if that woman who died has siblings and that dog makes them feel close to their sister, then it's like, okay, as hard as it is that he doesn't get to be ours, it's like, okay, this dog might give these people comfort over the next few years, but it's still hard.
I put myself in that woman's shoes, or like the brother's shoes of the woman who died.
I thought you were gonna say I put my woman pants on.
I did put my woman pants on that day.
I hate it when people say.
I was embarrassed because when I met the dog, we were like, it was very hot outside. We were on the sidewalk, and we sat down on this gray pavement to like play with the dog. And when we got up, I had sweat so much that there was like wet stains all over the ground, and it looked like I had like pissed everywhere. But it was just me sweating, and the woman had left no stains, so it looked like I had just like. I might have not gotten the dog because I had a puppy pad problem. And but I did like think, if my sister died and all I had was her dog and I couldn't take it, but I wanted it to find a home, I'd want the dog in St. Louis. I wouldn't want it to go to California.
Yes.
Like I just, even if I wasn't going to see the dog, because I don't think the guy's going to visit the dog, I would just want it in the vicinity. It's like, you just gotta, and I always believe everything happens for a reason. And like now there's a dog out there that I wouldn't have that I'm going to get. And when I get it, I'm going to be like, I can't believe I almost didn't have you.
Yes.
And I know that dog is out there right now shivering in a cage somewhere.
Oh yeah, the one
There's
we saw
that,
yesterday.
but also you and Chris had a conversation about having a dog because you guys are living together now.
Yes, we had
So
a
it
great
opened you
conversation
up for that.
Right,
So that's
That's
great.
exactly right. Like we wouldn't have had the conversation if it wasn't for this dog, and now we're ready for whatever that next.
Yeah,
dog
we had a
may
really
be.
good talk about like what the expectations were with the dog. Like all I wanted Chris to say was like, with Luigi and Marion, it was always Nikki's dogs, even though he was like very present in their lives. And it always kind of like, I just was like, man, I want it to be our dog, like I just want him to say my dog. And like, then I'd have this thing with the person I love, like that gives me kind of the thing, maybe that a maternal instinct where you're like making something with someone. And so for this, I was like, you'll be just as accountable as you were with Luigi and Marion, which was like very helpful, but not the number one. Like I will do the most of the work because that's what I want to do. I really do. Like if I'm getting this dog, like I know that I'm taking responsibility for it. But will you just say "our" when you say it on the radio? And he was like, "Yeah, I can do that." And Chris is also as I've said on the podcast a million times, the best part about him is like if I ever need anything, this guy does it. Literally anything. He will make sure it happens with no questions asked. No, like, you forgot that? I gotta mail it. Like, no.
I always thought the best part about me was my jawline.
I mean, you're 42 now, babe.
Yeah, I know, it's not looking
things
great.
Are going, no, your jawline's never been better, actually. I took a picture of you last night that really made me laugh, where he looked like he was just making a bad face. And I was like, happy birthday, baby. I love your smile. And I was so happy with that post.
A really bad.
It was so funny. But no, I grew up in a house, no offense, Dad, if you're listening, but like, and my mom too, where if like my mom forgot something at home and they were trying, it'd be like, Julie, why'd you forget that? Or like, EJ, you should have remembered the fucking garage door. And it's like, I did not repeat that in my relationship.
Well,
I have a relationship with someone who doesn't go like, why did you do this? Like, it's always just like, okay, we can go back. Oh, it's like a compassionate, like, that sucks, but like, we'll take care of it. It's not like a punishing. What were you going to say?
Well, no, I thought you were going to say that I was really responsible. And when I was here last time, Brian, do you know this? I ran out of gas in Nikki's rental car.
I've heard this.
It's not his fault, though.
I've never run out of gas before in my life.
The car was faulty. I've never been in a car that ran out of gas. The car is faulty. You saw it?
No, it is. It's not as like obvious as when other cars run out of gas.
It tells you it's set when you have 70 miles left, and then it abandons you. And there's no other warning until you're out of gas. That's a faulty Mercedes.
And Nikki was so we started the car, and I was like, I got to throw some stuff away.
You're going to see Barbie.
So I drove like 20 feet away in the parking lot where there was a trash can, and I went and I put something in the trash can, and I came back and the car was dead.
Starts like shuddering, like it's about to start sobbing. It's like, and I'm like, what's happening? The car's going like, and then all of a sudden,
Oh
dead.
man.
And
I was just in disbelief.
And I go, did someone go to the Reagan Museum a little too many times yesterday?
Dude, I went to the Reagan Museum.
70 miles. That's not enough.
No, it's
That's
bullshit.
like telling your kid when
they're
they're 6 that they're going to hit puberty one day. And then when they turn 13, you're just like, what are you
Yes.
talking about?
Yeah, it's like, what's happening here?
And so today, Chris was like, when you have to work today, like, maybe I can go do my own thing. And I go, just keep an eye on that gas gauge, baby. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break and come back after this. And we're back. So, does anyone know anyone who's at Burning Man right now?
I mean, I don't, but
yeah, we do know people. You just don't know that they're there.
you just don't know that they're there. There's 70,000
This guy
people
Glenn
there.
has got to be there. My Uncle Mike is there.
Yeah.
But I feel like, definitely a dude named Glenn, a couple guys named Glenn are there for sure. You're right. You know, it's surprising though that you don't know anyone like off the top of your head who's at Burning Man, because it seems to be the kind of thing that people talk about all the time if they're going.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's like CrossFit or
It's
like one of
Or
those
birthdays.
So
where it's
you know
like
what
the
happened
first
at
thing
Burning Man,
people will
right?
Rain.
Yeah. So everyone got it rained for days, and then it got all muddy, and then one person died, and people
Whoa.
weren't allowed to
But
leave
they don't
Burning
know
Man.
if it's that. It could be like drug related or
Sure.
whatever.
Somebody died,
right.
but someone
You
did.
would think at least one person a year dies.
That
at
seems
Burning Man.
low, doesn't it?
Thousands and thousands. Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
70,000
Yeah, it's-
people doing drugs in the desert. I mean, it seems like there would be at least 5 deaths a year, but guess
Yeah, it's
not.
like it's like the Khaleesi's wedding. What do they say? It's like if it's
at
a
least-
dull affair.
Yes, if at least 2 people don't die, it's a dull affair and a Dothraki wedding. That's a Game of
Dothraki wedding,
Thrones lore. Yeah, spoiler alert. Several people die at the Dothraki wedding, and
Is that the red wedding? I saw the red wedding.
No, that's not the
no,
right
no, that's a
one.
real
This is when
spoiler, but that's
Khaleesi
too long
married
ago.
Khal Drogo.
Was
Yeah.
she topless for it?
No, she was topless that night.
Okay, cool. Nice.
So it rained a lot
Burning
at
Man,
Burning
though,
Man,
yeah.
and it got really muddy, and it got so muddy that they had to shelter in place, and they weren't allowed to drive home. So some people, including Chris Rock and Diplo, had
Yeah, I
to
heard about
walk
that.
6 miles in the mud to leave Burning Man, which I know it's in the mud, so that makes it more
Mhm.
difficult. But walking in a 6-mile hike is not that long.
Not bad at all.
But
No.
still, people were then posting to social media like it was more like a flex and like a
And it's also like a straight line. It's not like they're going through mountains or anything.
yeah. But
right?
with the mud,
Right.
I can understand it being a little difficult. They probably didn't have like proper gear to like hike, but like 6 miles you could do, in like a half a day. And people were like posting on Instagram and other social media that like they were like refugees from Syria, they just got out, and also how amazing transformative experience it was, and like they were expecting to get some sort of what's the word people caring about this, what's the word I'm trying to think of.
Oh yeah.
FEMA.
sympathy.
They're trying to get some sympathy for this and try to seem cool, but instead everyone's just like, fuck you.
Fuck you.
You fucking losers.
They are going to be insufferable. All 70,000 people that were at this thing, it is going to be like we're going to hear stories about it for the rest of our lives. We're never going to we're never going to hear the end of like, oh, I was at the Burning Man where.
Well, and imagine
Yeah, I
next
was at
year's
Muddy
Burning Man when you have people at Burning Man next year and they're like, yeah, but I was at the one last year. It was when we were in the mud and I'm a better person than you because I was in the mud one. It's just going to be
I don't know if this is true or not because I read it on Reddit, but apparently there is a private plane at Burning Man that people take just so they could join the Mile High Club. It's like one of the attractions there.
sure.
That's how like
So you just go up
It's
and have sex and then
a-
come back down?
yeah.
It's just a theme park. It's become like maybe in
Go
the
to Denver.
80s when they started Burning Man, it was like just a bunch of hippies trying to figure their shit out. But now it is just a theme park for the rich where people, not everyone's not.
It does sound transformative and fun. I've been sold on it slightly by people, and I was the biggest like, oh God, Burning Man. I don't want to go because it's camping and it's muddy and it's like communal, and I don't want to have to like talk and hug a bunch of people and have people be like, "What's up, man?" and like share my food. Like there's no money. It's all bartering.
Yeah.
There's no money. Everything's bicycles. And that was like sold to me as like a good thing. I'm like, no.
I want to know who's selling it to you because it does not seem like a thing that you would have a good time at all.
No,
I mean,
not even close.
I can't. I'm just saying, like, I don't. I have some people in my life who I think are cool people that like it. So I don't think it's that lame because I just trust these people to be not as lame as the type of Burning Man person. But I will say, I do know someone who's there who I really don't like. And at first I was like, this bitch is stuck in the mud. And then I go, oh, fuck, she's going to have this story.
Yeah, she gets the story.
She's going to be worse than anyone.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's almost like it's a better for them than if they just had a great Burning Man.
Are you kidding me? The people that go to Burning Man just want to talk about Burning Man. And this gives them this license.
Yeah.
It becomes their life. Like that's their personality now, is that every year they go to Burning Man.
That being said, I'm very interested in going. I think I would do better at it than you would.
I'll go with you. That's
Yeah.
really
Oh my
cute.
God.
Yeah.
Sorry, in a good way that's sexy.
Yeah.
You don't like cute anymore, or you never have. I just found out. But yeah, I'll go with you. I'll go. I feel protected by you,
Right.
Because you protect me from things that I don't care for in situations like that. You'll make it as comfortable as possible. You'll be like, I got your charger hooked up here, and I'll do this extension cord. I got this frisbee that lights up. We'll do that. Like he'll bring snacks
I got a lot of
like.
a lot of light up frisbees in my life.
He went to REI the other day, and there was a sale. He got me a blanket.
I love a sale at REI.
He just gets me little
Yes.
gifts, and like I didn't know it was my love language till I knew. So he got me a beautiful little blanket that is just like a thing you can ball up into like a really nice pillow or use a blanket. And he got me a light up frisbee that is fucking cool. It's for us. Got us a light up frisbee.
Well, yeah, and for like, when you're here, like if you wanted to go play.
Yeah.
But also this
Ranch.
thing that I think might be good for a lot of different people that travel a lot.
We had fun.
It's only $10. It is it's like a scale that you hold in your hand that you can weigh your luggage before you get to the airport. So you don't have that panic for 2 hours before you get to the airport to be like, am I at 53 pounds? Are they going to bust me on this? Am I going to look like an idiot
And then you have to,
unpacking
like,
my bag?
unpack it and,
how
like,
other things at
Take your
different places?
vibrator out. Yeah.
So it's like, it's
Your
like
15-pound
yeah, it's
vibrator.
10
I mean, the Hitachi magic wand is
industrial
I
strength.
guess it's probably of 1.5 pounds at least. But yesterday I was like, weigh my leg. So I was like laying in bed, and Chris was just like hooked it to my leg, and I was just like, just lift up. So we were weighing my legs. They both weigh the same.
Yeah,
12.5.
Yeah, which is about. Would you guys would go to Burning Man, right? I mean, I know that we all make fun of it, and we should.
No.
It deserves to be made fun
No,
of, but it still looks cool and fun.
Does Avi want to go?
No.
Really? But he
Not
likes
our
outdoors
culture.
and he likes rescue.
But it's not like it's not an
It's not outdoors
thing. It's more about like being artsy and like eclectic and on drugs and the whole bartering thing. Like,
I would want to
I just
go
like
to Burning Man just so I can justify my hatred for it. Like I would go and be like, now I know for sure that I hate this.
that's great.
yes.
This sucks.
Yeah,
the people here
I
suck.
like
They're confused and flailing. That's what's
I like
happening.
being taken to a different world. So like I loved Sleep No More in New York, that thing where it was like
Sure.
go in. I love that. And then like Beyonce's like concert recently.
Taylor Swift's concert.
Yeah, it's just like you get taken to a different place for a short period
A
of
fake
time.
place that costs millions and millions of dollars purporting to be an anti-capitalist utopia. Instead, it costs several $100 million to make, and the CEOs and the top 10 people make over
Right.
$300K a year to put it on. It is a
Really?
hypocrisy. It is a farce.
Yeah,
and
I
it
agree
has become a playground for the wealthy to destroy the environment essentially and post something on Instagram that makes them feel like they're superior to people who don't go. That's what I view it as.
And I thought it was free, but ticket prices start at
$500 to go.
What?
and vehicle
Whoa.
passes are $150.
You spend thousands of dollars to go. So this is not if you are an actual person who lives in the desert
off the earth.
and lives in a yurt, you cannot afford to go to Burning Man.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Are there scholarships or something?
And then, and like, I understand the transformative experience and taking you to a new world. I'm not saying there's nothing good about Burning Man, but I do wonder for these people who have transformative experiences, is Burning Man transformative or is doing shrooms transformative?
I think that's what it is.
Is it because you did DMT? Is that why you're thinking it? I mean, it's a cool place to do DMT, that's for sure. But I don't think Burning Man is a requirement to have a transformative experience on shrooms.
I agree, but you're also with like-minded people.
Yeah.
So like you're with you feel like you're in this ultimate safe space of like-minded people because that's the brand, is like we're coming here to be like 100% ourselves in some way, and then we have to go back to our lives.
Except we know, I mean, we know enough to know that if you get 70,000 people in a spot, you are not in a safe space. Out of those 70,000 people, there's at least 25,000 people who are just weird. And there is 10,000 people who have malicious intentions. Not like I'm going to kill you, but like I'm going to try to fuck your girlfriend. And then there's going to be 500 people who probably are evil. That's just humanity. And now you're putting them all together with no rules in the desert. There's no water. And you're setting things on fire and doing drugs. And you're telling me this is what you want to spend $3,000 in a Labor Day weekend on?
We need someone who's been to Burning Man on the show to speak in.
Yeah, but I mean, I am sort of like having their back in some reasonable way. I mean I safe space like emotionally. I don't mean like physically. But I will also say that every institution that has ever existed, whether it starts with good intentions or not, becomes perverted by people who will get into that institution and make it way worse. I mean, you look at our government, you look at basically every religion, like all of those were probably started with the best of intentions and then have been perverted into something where it's like it all ends up being like because we want to just make money and have power. Anybody who wants to make money and have power will seek an institution that they can manipulate so that they can have power and make money. And Burning Man is no exception.
Final thought. I was listening to this interesting podcast called Stuff You Should Know that I go to sleep listening to almost every single night. And it always puts me to sleep. But then I also learn something. And it takes me probably like 4 weeks to get through 1 hour episode because I always fall asleep. But then I slowly absorb the information. And there was this one episode about the bilateral I forget what it was called, but it was something about how like when our brains, when we snapped into consciousness as humans, there's a theory that before we had consciousness and had like our thoughts in our heads that we knew were our thoughts, we thought, this is thousands of years ago, before consciousness began, humans thought that thoughts in our heads were God or a ruler talking to us. So if you had the thought of like, I'm going to itch my leg, there wasn't the thought of like, this is my leg, I'm itching it. It was God is telling me to itch my leg. It was any thought you had in your head was just God or the ruler of your little
What
tribe.
about before religion?
So
there was
did they get into that?
So it was like basically after you're smart enough to like be aware of something before we were intelligent enough that we had like our own agency.
Yes.
So somewhere in between that in evolution.
Yes.
It's like 1980.
And it wasn't like a god. Like they didn't have a religion.
And Ronald Reagan was the one telling us to scratch our leg. Well, you should scratch your leg.
Not bad.
That was really good. So it was an idea of God of being like a supreme being. Like they didn't really have religion yet, but it was just this supreme being, or they thought it was the voice of the ruler, the guy that was in charge of everything, like the kid that was in charge of the whatever tribe you were in. So no one was like, I'm hungry. It was like, God's telling me to eat. I'm just like, it's almost the way I feel about free will, where it's like their brains weren't them. They weren't like I am. It was just like, I'm a robot operating on this system of someone's just feeding things into my brain and I'm acting on that. So that's what they all quote unquote thought, because thoughts weren't really what they were doing. They were just kind of working on this automatic response. Then at some point, they became intelligent enough that it was around the Bronze Age, I believe, when we started working with tools, and it like made our brains smarter because they figured out a way to make bronze, that we snapped into consciousness, and all of a sudden it was like our brains became on one side of your brain, and the other side of the brain started working in tandem, and that became consciousness. I'm really like butchering what this means, but pretty much religion was invented for a nostalgia for that supreme being that used to tell you what to do. So these people suddenly were like, now I'm responsible for everything. I don't like this. I now need to invent a god because I miss the glory days of when I was just an automaton that was walking around like a zombie being told what to do by this god. And in religion, and this is all a theory based on like some anthropologists back in like the, in the 20th century that came up with this theory, but it kind of all jibes together because it's like religion came right after consciousness probably showed up. And so we missed being just told what to do automatically and not having to like take accountability for our own actions. And so we invented religions to give us some sort of like pathway.
Damn.
And I just thought that was pretty interesting. And I love this show. And it like, Is there anything that always puts you guys to sleep? Like this show, I don't know what it is. It reminds me of maybe my parents having a party in the living room.
Oh yeah,
and I can just hear like kind of muffled voices.
Yes, that's the greatest thing to fall asleep to is you're at a sleepover when you're a kid or something, and you're at camp, and there's just two people chatting, and you're just kind of listening, and it's just a safe place to be because if there's two people having a casual conversation, then everything's probably pretty safe. And you're not alone.
They're awake enough to fight off intruders.
Yeah. And also they're probably people you like.
I think it gives you a caveman sense.
Yeah. The conversation
that's
is
so
great.
funny. Avi, we were on a road trip, and then, like he really likes history, and like we'll watch documentaries and I'll always fall asleep. We were on a road trip once and he was listening to a book on economics because that was his major and he's like really into that stuff. I could not stay awake. Like I really tried to listen and synthesize, but I think it's so much information that my brain just shuts down and then I fall asleep.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with
any
voices.
kind of like knowledge. Like when I think that's what this show is. I always pick a subject matter where it's like there was one about the end of the Bronze Age, which like the collapse of this. Like the world was doing great during the Bronze Age for like there was like societies and there was kind of beginnings of governments and everything. And then all of a sudden things started to fall apart and the society completely collapsed. And I'm kind of interested in that because it seems to be what we're on the cusp of pretty soon. And I kind of want to hear how it begins and like how it starts and trickles down until everything is just chaos and ruined. Because that's what happened. Like everyone died off. All the society, like there was obviously some people survived because we are here now, but so I'm just like, have you guys read the book Sapiens?
Oh, I tried reading it.
Did you love it?
Yeah, I tried.
I just couldn't get
Yeah,
through
it's
it.
great.
I tried to listen to it. Then
Speaking of things that make you fall
dense.
asleep,
it's pretty dense and like I don't know. I tried to listen to it. I'd rather just get. This is one of those instances where I'd rather just get a Blinkist summary of it because he just kept going on and on. And I was like, do I really have to read all of this in order to understand what they're trying to say? Like, what's the point? I usually love shit like that, and I just couldn't get through Sapiens.
I think I'll like it because it's linear and it like will take you because I feel like when I learn about history, it's like these moments, these little like batches of history, and I go, but how does that fit into the rest of it? Because I don't know. Like when people, here's the dumbest question I've ever asked, maybe on the show. When people say BCE, is E different? Does E add something different to BC?
No, it's just era, I think.
Really?
Before
Why are we
Christ
throwing
era.
on an E? No one needs that. Stop making it you sound smarter than everyone else. So is the world just AD 0 and then BC? Is that all we do, or is there something before BC?
No,
No,
it's just BC. It's just those two
BC just
things.
keeps traveling back into eternity.
Okay.
Before Christ. Anno Domini.
Right. Louis
Before
C.K.'s
Santa
joke
Claus.
about
Oh,
BC.
it's such a great joke.
Because he talks about like people in BC didn't know the date was like 80 BC.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it would be weird, like on New Year's Eve, they'd be like, and now it's 79. He's like, what are we counting down to? Like the fear of being like, wait, what is this all leading to? They didn't know Christ was coming.
Right.
There was no date before then. It's such a brilliant.
It's such a
bit.
ridiculous thing too that like that we started time 2,000 years ago. I mean, I know that like the Chinese calendar is on like, what is it, like 4,790 or something?
Yeah, that
Jewish calendar
Louis
also
bit is good. Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's like 5,500 and change. I'm
so
know.
ignorant when
nice.
it
It's like
comes to
5782 or
religion and history.
something. Or 5783.
Mm.
Yeah.
But I did feel smart this weekend on the crossword puzzle.
Oh yeah, crossword puzzle. What'd you
Like
Which ones?
Brian, me, and Chris have crossword competitions where we time. They're timed anyway, but we're trying to like we do like every. I would say Monday through Friday. We send each other most of the crosswords. This has been a couple weeks now, and see who wins. Brian is probably winning at this point.
I've lost
Yeah.
quite a lot. I mean, just yesterday was a huge victory for me.
Huge.
Yesterday,
I mean,
he beat me by like
Chris and I did 12.
Yeah, he did like
12 something minutes.
half the time. You did 12, I did 14, and Brian did in the sevens.
in the
Yeah.
sevens on a Monday. It was really embarrassing for us over here, but
I don't
we were just distracted
understand.
because we were in love.
There are people who can
We're
do.
next to each other and just staring into each other's eyes. We're getting lost. So that
distracted.
if you got to have Allie do it next to you too and
Yeah.
see if you
Oh,
get a
she
12.
doesn't do them at all. There are people
Yeah.
who can do, especially the Monday crossword, in like under 4 minutes, like a sub 4 minute mile. And I don't even
Crazy.
understand how you can type them in that fast.
No,
Right,
I
yeah.
know because if I even have a typo, I go, I'm done.
Yeah.
like I'm gonna.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
like, oh,
lose.
I've screwed everything up.
Yes.
If you're just
everything.
reading the answers from an answer key, typing it in, I would still think it would take 4 minutes.
There are some times on a crossword where I feel like, oh, this one I got lucky.
Yeah.
Like, because I remember in 6th grade, we had someone come to talk to our class and he was from Burkina Faso.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right.
Otherwise, I wouldn't
Yeah.
fucking know what Burkina Faso was in a million years. And we had a hint the other day that was like country Burkina blank. And I was like, Faso, bitches. That would have been one that I just was like, what the hell is this?
You Slumdog Millionaired it.
And there are a lot of sports
Yeah.
references where I go, well, Chris is going to have the advantage here, home court.
Yeah. Every time I see some sort of variation of a sport one, I'm like, how does Nikki ever get this? And I know that's like the point of crossword puzzles is that
Well,
the other letters
The
fill in.
answer is Untold, the documentary series on Netflix that I am very much into, and I have a lot of information about a couple certain things. Malice at the Palace. If you want to know anything about the Ron Artest fight in the stands, I got you.
Uh-huh.
Johnny Manziel. I know all about him. And Manti Te'o. I love sports
Oh,
documentaries. Jordan. Oh my God.
Well, I had a bit of something where it's like Nikki can only get into sports if it's like 15 years ago.
Yes.
Present day sports is like not interesting to Nikki at all. It's like she needs to hear the story, the drama behind,
Sure.
Yes.
like moments.
I mean, I was very much involved in the Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan thing when I was in 5th grade. Because it was captivated the nation. I mean, there was crime involved. It was in 5th grade, and I was like, I knew all about it. My mom was, up on it. My mom was a big court TV watcher, even though that wasn't on court TV or whatever, but she's just that kind of woman. I knew all about the OJ scandal. I was in 6th grade. I had strong opinions about OJ. But I love these sports docs. If you guys have any suggestions, listeners, for good sports documentaries from me, please send them my way. We're going to go back through 30 for 30s. Tell us which 30 for 30s are the best ones to watch. Chris does have an ESPN.com subscription because he is a boy. Last night I go, let's watch 30 for 30. We were looking at one that we used to watch that we made fun of called Broke, where the whole time guys are just like, man, we were spending. It's all about like
Diamonds.
how athletes go bankrupt fast. And the whole thing is just them being like, man, we had cash flowing, strippers, cars, watches. They just list.
And the money wouldn't stop.
It's a half hour of them listing things they bought.
Yeah,
Yachts, boats,
yeah, cars. And it never ended. And we thought it would never end. And so we kept buying things, shoes. watches. We're like, okay, cool. And we're like, where's the story? And they're like, man. And then I
we
kept
just
buying
thought it
things.
would never end.
I was buying things for my family.
And the graphics are all like money flowing down and like
Cleaning
it's just coins
supplies
stacking up. It's like the dumb. It's like VH1, like I love the 90s, but done ESPN side. It's so funny. So I go, we should watch that again. Like we watched it in 2015. We've been making fun of it ever since. We didn't even finish it. I don't think.
No,
we were just like, this is ridiculous.
15 minutes in, and it was just listing things they bought.
So I was like, we should watch it again. And last night I go, it's on. I go, we got to buy it though. It's ESPN.com. And Chris was just like, babe. I don't think you said babe, but what were you said?
I don't remember what I said.
You just go, you think I don't have an ESPN.com subscription? What do you even think of me?
Yeah.
Who do you think you're driving with right now? I go, a guy that does it, that's about to run out of gas. We won't need it at Burning Man.
Are you talking
though,
about
baby.
figuratively in this relationship?
All right, Chris Convy, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for spending thanks for waking up early to do the pod on your birth.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
I think-
except that I would be sleeping. It was up to
Yesterday
me.
we slept till we were in bed.
We didn't get out of
till
bed until 2.
2.
Yeah.
2 o'clock.
Nice.
We really did it. It was awesome. And then I will say we went to, maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow, going to the Middle Eastern restaurant, because I made you laugh by being myself.
Oh, I don't remember what you did.
What are you doing there? Come on. Little bit more. Does that ring a bell?
No.
What is that, sir? Come on,
Oh,
you can do better.
Oh, man.
Okay,
Teaser.
that's a
Deep
teaser
tease.
for tomorrow.
Deep tease.
All right, guys, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. As always, check out my tour, nikkiglaser.com. Chicago Theater coming up September 15th. And if you're in the Chicago area, if you have friends in the Chicago area, send them to my show. It's going to be so much
Man, that's
freaking
coming up.
fun. Yes, Chris Convy's brother Tim is going to be opening for me. Anya will also be there. It's going to be one of the greatest shows of my life because it's at this huge, amazing theater in Chicago where I just feel so special and I want you there. I want my besties there. And then the rest of the tour is going to be so excellent. I'm so excited.
But pales in
nikkiglaser.com.
comparison to the Chicago one.
Yeah. Wait, what?
All the other
The rest of the
cities
tour?
are just trash.
No, once I get a Chicago under my belt, which is the first one, the rest will feel much. I'm gonna feel so good. At any point in the tour, you see me, I'm going to be. I mean, I'm cooking with gas right now
yeah.
for my stand up.
You're
it
you're
feels
like
really
building up this stuff. You're gonna go out there on this tour, and you're gonna have so much new material, and it's just gonna be. You're so ready to go out on tour again. It's crazy.
I know, and I thought I wouldn't be because
Yeah.
I've been stagnant for 2 months, but I am ready.
Yeah.
We gotta go. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you tomorrow on the podcast. Don't be and just what?
Some more. I mean, you could give us some more. But that's not enough.
Wait, what are you doing
What's going
there?
on here?
Deep tease. See you tomorrow.